All right.
Enlarge, please. You
Yes.
forgot to tell me to bring my telescope.
See, this is quite the setup. I have not used two computers and a projector screen at the same time before while sharing screen on Zoom. All sorts of layers of
Supposed to be
complication. Okay. All right, so we'll get started. To kick things off, I think we'll go around to a quick round of introductions just because we have some new faces. So to start, I'm Jack Wright. I'm the chair of the task force as of a couple of months, so I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, maybe we can just go around this way.
Okay, I'm Ann Clark. I'm among other things the liaison to the Conservation Board, and I'm here a while.
I'm Alice Green and I'm the past chair of the task force.
I'm Ann Rhodes and I'm an interested resident.
I'm Hannah Emmelhines and I'm a representative from Dryden High School.
I'm sorry, your first name again?
Hannah Emmelhines.
Hi, Hannah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Ashley Seifried, so I'm the new CSC coordinator. I'm the director of sustainability at Southern Tier 8 Regional Board. And so by CSC coordinator, the regional one, so I cover 5 counties.
Where?
Southern Tier 8 Regional Board. So it's based out of Binghamton, but I cover Tompkins, Tioga, Shenango, Delaware.
My goodness.
That's
Yeah.
Kind of Cortland.
No.
Not correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Broome, not Portland.
Broome.
But like, so we also have 8 counties in the board. So it's like I cover 5 for some things, 8 for the others. So CSC it's 5 counties. Yeah.
Okay, and you're based in Syracuse?
Based in Binghamton.
In Binghamton,
Yep.
I missed that,
Yep.
okay.
But I live in Owego, so it's like 40 minutes from here. So yeah, I like story.
Murray McRae, member of the task force. Gina Cassidy, task force coordinator, and I'm on staff as planner.
Joe Wilson, same as Marie on the task force.
Evan Kurtz on the task force, and I think I'm coming up on 1 year in September.
Great.
I'm Jerry Shang, and I'll stepping into the CEC Clean Energy Communities role from my past time at CEC as the Climate Smart Communities Coordinator.
Awesome. And Christina.
Hi, Christina Dravis. I'm a task force member and liaison to the town board. And I'm really sorry I'm not there in person because it looks like a really fun group.
No problem, Christina. Thank you for joining us. All right, so to get started, we will take a look back at the July minutes that we had sent out earlier. Did folks have any edits or changes for the July minutes? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the July minutes?
I move.
All right, Joe moves and Evan second. Great. All right, all in favor of approving the July minutes? Awesome. Cool. All right. That's a quick and easy one. We are going to be spending most of today looking at sort of the mission of the task force, sort of putting it in writing with the funding for clean energy communities, at least for now, kind of going into the background, and the climate smart communities funding still being there, but also, requiring more match from the town. We wanted to kind of take this opportunity and look at, okay, what does our group do without, following a very strict program? So we'll be spending most of our time on that today, and Anne and Evan have done awesome work pulling together the sort of framework for us to work off of. We are going to go a little bit out of order. Christina, we'll start with you just for updates from the town board, because I know you said you had to take off a little bit early today, and I want to make sure we get to that before you have to go. So we'll start with you, Christina.
Oh, thanks. Probably the biggest thing is we're coming up on budget season. So I know we have, I think it's $1,000 dedicated to the task force. So if we want to think about upping it, now would be the time to think about that. And the Village of Dryden, I know they're considering a dog park over by the wastewater treatment plant. I think that's all the stuff I can really think of.
Excellent, thank you.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jack, you mentioned something about a new or additional contribution from the town for the activities for this group. Did I get that right or wrong?
I don't think we're anticipating additional funding from the town. I sent an email to Lauren to see, how that is set up, but I don't believe that we're anticipating additional funding from the town, at least at this point.
Okay, well. Never mind, I'll just let other
It
people will
sounds-
figure it out for me.
It sounds like what I heard from Christina is that, Christina, is this correct? In the past, in the 2025 town budget, there is $1,000, which is set aside to cover expenses of this task force and doing our work. And I believe that you were saying that, you are now considering whether to include that in the 2026 budget?
Yeah, I believe it's been part of the last couple of years, but we've just never taken advantage of it. I'm not sure when it started, but if we do think that we're going to have more activities and we want to have more funding, I can definitely ask that they up the 1,000 to maybe like 1,500 or 2,000. And if we don't get around to using it, fine, it'll just be sitting there.
That's great. Yeah, I think this year we do intend to use it for the cafe,
Repair
for the repair cafe. So you'll show in the ledgers that we did use this year's, and I think we will want to have that stay in there.
Yeah.
The
$1,000.
$1,000
Yeah,
to
yes,
just cover miscellaneous
Yeah.
expenses of activities that we do in the year. So we
Okay.
appreciate that from the town board, Christina.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you didn't want to try to increasing it to, by a couple $100. But we can always do that later.
Let me try my question once more, and then I'll leave it alone. I thought, Jack, you referenced something about a town contribution to the activities of the group. Is this what we just covered? And that there was a need for more demanded by the state? No?
I don't recall that.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, that could be, I wonder if it's a match for a grant that you might be.
That's
have
what
been
it sounded like.
describing.
I
Yeah,
didn't get the right words out.
yeah.
Oh, I see, for the Climate Smart Communities program that I was mentioning just a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Ashley, you can probably speak to this better than I can, but my understanding with the Climate Smart Communities, like the actions that we can earn help kind of advance us and give us, some points towards grants that we can apply through the New York State DEC. But as opposed to like the Clean Energy Communities grants, which are a no match grant where the town doesn't have to put any money forward, we can just get the, 175,000 for,
I understand what that is. So what's this
Yeah.
other deal?
So for CSC, if you were to apply for a grant, you would do that through the CFA, which closes July 31st, and you would apply for like a specific action. And then depending on how much you're applying, it's a 50, you guys aren't a disadvantaged community, right?
No.
So it's a 50% match for anything that you're applying for. So like if you wanted to do like a comprehensive plan that includes like sustainability, and you apply for 100,000, then you would be paying 50,000 of that,
Okay,
and the state would pay 50.
okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, they're competitive grants.
They are.
So just receiving silver certification doesn't guarantee that we get those grants. And the CFA stands for Consolidated Funding Application. It's used statewide, and we're in competition
Correct.
with municipalities all over the state when we apply for
Yes,
those.
but being silver does make you more competitive too. You get extra points that would make you against other communities. So that's great.
Good.
Yeah.
With respect to 2026, though, if our repair cafe is a success and we want to repeat it, is it reasonable to suggest that we would like to have $300 or $400 or $500 extra for another go round? It's not going to get cheaper to run it next time.
True.
I mean, I would suggest that if the town is amenable and what we're doing is looked on reasonably and we do succeed, we could easily prospectively find a use for it
Good.
to
Yeah.
expand.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is we could ask for a little bit additional funding.
We already have a project that's beginning of the
Right.
2025 fiscal year,
Yeah,
right?
When's the fiscal year run?
Calendar year.
Okay, so we're,
Well, I guess we're partly through it, but still, if we run it again, I mean, it seems like we've got a big thing already to use that.
Do we have any sense that we'll touch $1,000?
Oh, I don't think we'll touch $1,000, but
Yeah,
I think,
But that's one project,
I think that's a reasonable suggestion.
right?
That
But
we
if it-
should ask for a couple $100 more, 4 or 5.
On what basis?
On the
Yeah.
basis that we have a potential project already lined up for the next year and we haven't even discussed other projects.
Okay,
It just seems like,
It was helpful for us to have some of that money in the coffers when we were doing community campaigns to promote greenhouse gas emission reductions through heat pumps. We had printed materials that we had to make and so on, and we didn't do one of those campaigns in this calendar year, but a community campaign is a sort of an expensive thing to run. We get plenty back in terms of points and the past grants for doing that. So that's another category of expenses that this kind of thing can cover for us.
so
Postage, if we were doing a mailing, that kind of thing.
in the past, we've used significant parts of that $1,000.
Yeah, I'd say at least 1 year went by when we did not.
Okay,
But then prior to that, we did a community campaign where we used it to cover some.
so I'm
printed.
thinking from the town's point of view, they're gonna see that we've been using this fund right along, and they're probably happy to give us 1,000, and if we ask for more, they're gonna wanna know why.
Yeah, could be. Christina, you've been probably starting to look at the budget. Do you, were you saying that there were a couple of years went by that we didn't use the money that was in the fund? Do you have that in front of you? Chris, oh, well,
She's muted, so she might be.
Christina? You're muted at the moment.
She may not be hearing you, Alice.
The audio's going through.
Okay, so
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I think that the $1,000, it just, if we don't use it, we just add it again the next year and it just doesn't go anywhere. So I was thinking like, I think Montour Falls, since they had a successful cafe, I believe they have like one in the fall and one in the spring. So I was kind of anticipating if this one's a success, we might want to have another one, a couple months down the road.
Yeah. So Christina, do you think that it's reasonable to ask for maybe 1,200 in the 2026 budget?
Or
Just
even
up-
or even 1,500 just to, just in case. But I mean, even if it gets to a point where it is, if we ask for 1,200 and we need a couple $100 more, I'm sure that they would be able to find that money somewhere. But it would just, I thought it would be helpful just to have it up front.
So your suggestion to us is that when you go to the budget negotiations, you're asking for 1,500 for the task force.
That's what I would recommend.
I love that. That's the
Great.
best.
Okay. And then knowing that we have that, we could spend it on something. We could brainstorm and find, other great ways to use that money.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's good to know that that funding is available and, we can consider, more actively what we might use that funding for. Because I know when I feel like I just found out about us having $1,000 a few months ago. And it's like, oh, this is great. So now that we know that funding is available, we can, take that into account with future plans.
Just for education, does that need town approval? And if we decide to spend 400 on something, we just decide?
No, once the town budget is passed in November,
Yeah,
that money is earmarked for us in a particular account.
Yeah.
And we just, hand in receipts and get reimbursed from
so
that
we can
account.
spend it how we
Right.
want. We don't need to go to the town to say.
No town
okay,
approval
that's
for the
fine.
individual.
Up to this
expenditures.
1,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. When we helped the high schoolers out did we help them out with a little bit of funding for the pollinator pathway project?
It turned out that we did not.
Mhm.
They had a donation from Jan, I think.
Yeah,
Medici.
Jan gave the plants, I think, or the seeds or something.
And they got donations from other places, and the last I heard, they had enough, so they didn't need our money. But that's another example of something that we
Right.
could
That's-
spend that.
that's why I was wondering, because if they have another project that they'd like to pursue, then
Yes,
might be
yeah,
a good way to spend down the budget.
yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, I want to keep us chugging along, I guess. How do folks feel overall asking the town board for 1,500 for the 2026 financial year? Is that something we have to vote on? I don't really know how it.
Sounds like it.
Okay,
That'd be a good idea.
is there a motion to? Great,
Then we
thanks,
ask for
Alex.
1,500.
Wonderful. 10 seconds, all in favor? Great,
That's great.
alrighty,
Thanks, Christina.
yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right, so jumping on to the next agenda item here, we are currently a task force. So we were created just to kind of fulfill the I guess, mission of both the Clean Energy Communities and Climate Smart Communities programs. And again, this junction that I mentioned earlier seems like a good opportunity for us to reflect on that. So Gina had drafted a resolution, basically just in name and also in the town's eyes, making the task force more of a permanent thing, focused on climate work outside of just the CEC and CSC programs, basically making us a committee. So we can take a look at that. Thank you, Gina, for drafting this. Now, I don't know the best way to, I want everyone to be able to see this, but also
Is it online?
it is online. I can,
If you can. I'm not going to be able to quickly,
well, maybe it's easiest just to
just
use this.
send it out, I can get it by email.
Okay. Do a
Are you
very-
going to be asking us to approve or support the mission or all the whereases that lead up to it?
So this is mostly just reviewing, this is a draft resolution that we'd send to the town board to basically just transform the task force into a committee. Gina, you can run through the like language more specifically. And maybe you can speak to where you drew the kind of whereas aspects from.
Yeah, and I think it's legitimate if the whereas, if the group wants to change the whereas, we should do it.
Great. Solution. Okay. So we can run through this line by line, and then if you have any edits or thoughts, you can give us a shout.
You want me to read it, save your voice?
That would be wonderful, Gina. Thank you.
All right, so it's a resolution of the town board of the town of Dryden to transform the Climate Smart Task Force into a permanent, whatever the new name is becoming.
New committee name.
Yeah. Whereas in 2016, the town of Dryden approved a pledge to work toward becoming a New York State Climate Smart Community. Do you want to just see, anybody have any
We'll jump in.
changes to that?
No, we'll jump in.
All right. Whereas in 2019, the town of Dryden created the Climate Smart Task Force to work towards Climate Smart Communities certification and Clean Energy Communities grants. That's that whereas. Next whereas. In July 2025, the town achieved the highest level currently possible in Climate Smart Communities certification, Silver. Next whereas. The town was awarded over $300,000 in Clean Energy Communities grant money for measures taken to reduce greenhouse gases before the program itself was indefinitely paused in November 2024.
Is that still an accurate characterization of CEC?
I wouldn't say that the program itself was indefinitely paused, because the program still exists and there's gonna be future, iterations of the program.
How do you say ran out of money in a nice diplomatic?
No, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, instead of saying the program itself, you say the program funding was indefinitely.
Good,
paused.
and program funding was, that's
Yes,
a
yeah,
good way,
that's
that's a
perfect.
great.
And could we say
Quick
by
change.
whom? So it's not the implication isn't that the town defunded it, it was,
Oh, New York State
all right, then let's say what arm of the New York State?
program.
I don't-
is indefinitely
Do you know-
paused by New York State.
Okay, fair enough.
Pause by New York State.
As opposed to we ran it dry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I'll read it as it's rewritten. The town was awarded over $300,000 in clean energy communities grant money for measures taken to reduce greenhouse gases before the program funding was indefinitely paused by New York State in November 2024.
Mhm.
Whereas the initial objectives of the Climate Smart Task Force have thus been achieved.
Those objectives were known, I mean, I know we don't want to make this a huge document, but we need to say what the objectives were.
We had to jump through the hoops they wanted to give us a grant.
Yeah, the objectives of, I said before, we got the $300,000 and we got silver certification. Those are the highest objectives that we could achieve in the programs.
Okay. So those are what you're referring to. as the
Right.
objectives.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas it has been scientifically established that the climate all over the world is becoming generally hotter, the atmosphere more carbon saturated, and unpredictable weather events are becoming more frequent and severe.
True.
That sounds like our life, yeah.
Yes.
Whereas much more work can be done to protect the town and its residents from the deleterious effects of climate change.
Great word choice.
I was gonna say, yeah, great vocabulary.
And that's this for the whereases. So now be it resolved by the town board of the town of Dryden, state of New York, as follows, that the town of Dryden hereby creates a permanent new committee name to continue the work begun by the Climate Smart Task Force towards greenhouse gas reduction and preparing the town to cope with the deleterious effects of climate change through assisting and advising the town with planning, adaptation, and mitigation.
A question. The town has task forces and it has advisory committees. Are we asking to be an advisory committee as
Yes.
opposed to a
Correct.
committee?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so why don't we say advisory committee? That's what
A permanent new committee,
New-
yeah.
it's,
Permanent new
Committee name
advisory and
as an
Yeah, it could
advisory.
be advisory committee, we could say, or standing committee. Yeah,
what
standing.
makes me uncomfortable and why I'm talking about advisories is that that's what the town has, task forces and advisory committees. It doesn't have
And boards.
committees or
Hmm.
permanent committees.
Oh, okay, task force and advisory committee.
So-
Okay.
The town of Dryden hereby creates an advisory new committee name
Or,
instead of permanent and advisory.
let's see.
Yeah, I think in terms of state language, there are boards, commissions, standing committees, which are, all of them are advisory and task forces. I think those are the categories that are recognized by New York State. So, but advisory.
My only point is we ought to fit into the scheme as opposed to seeming to be declaring us some new thing.
Entity here, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think adding advisory committee is good.
So does
But-
this satisfy that? So the town of Dryden hereby creates an advisory and then whatever our name is.
Creates the
Hereby creates.
name as an advisory committee.
Oh,
Should the name come first?
Oh,
yeah,
good.
that's a good idea.
Creates,
I'm looking at the website and it says the only advisory committee is the agricultural. Is that correct, or they're just incorrect on the website?
What is the housing? Christina, do you-
Housing is that's a committee.
So what-
Ann's there, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and the conservation board is just advisory,
and it's a board.
and it's a board.
as
Oh,
opposed-
advisory board. Okay,
Right,
because I remember there was some concern that they could only advise and that they couldn't act on stuff. So that's why I was kind of cautionary about using the word advisory.
So what do you recommend?
Committee.
Just leaving out advisory.
I think so, but I mean it's totally up to you guys though. I just remember that from the conservation board, but Anne just explained it that it's a board, not a committee. But I don't know if there's like legal definitions for between those.
Is that something we should discuss with the town board as to how they want to see it?
Probably Lauren. Lauren could answer that.
Okay,
Okay,
Well, that seems to me what the town wants us to do and be is crucial.
yeah.
Christina, I'm raising my hand.
Go for it.
Has this been discussed at all with the town board? The creation, this transformation yet?
No, I mean I think they kind of know that it's out there, but there hasn't been anything concrete. They'll be supportive of it though, because I mean this
Okay.
is like their. I don't want to brag, but this is like their favorite committee. No. Also, do we want? I remember a couple meetings ago we had tossed around the idea of sustainability.
Oh, for a committee name.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think that's our next step to talk about the name, but
Yeah,
I guess my question to you, Christine, is if we put it in as an advisory committee and the town board just wanted it to be called a committee, I think that would be okay with us, right?
Okay, got it.
What about the opposite? Because if we just were a committee and then they said, no, you have to have the word advisory, then they can stick it in there.
Yeah, either way.
I
Okay.
think it's better. Are we, I mean, for instance, if we run a repair cafe, are we advising or are we just doing?
Yeah.
We're just doing, yeah.
So maybe the sustainability committee, and then leave that other question open about whether
And then they can
Check.
decide whether they want.
or they can make us a
require-
task force, or they can make us a board.
so so at least for now, putting in the sustainability committee as the name. And then removing the advisory committee
Mhm.
portion of it.
Yeah,
And I really like climate action committee. So we're gonna talk about what the committee
We can
name.
leave that highlighted.
Yes, we'll come back to that. So
Okay.
I'll remove this an advisory committee for now. And we'll come back to the name. Maybe we can finish through kind of the content and then discuss the name afterwards. So is there any additional comment on this?
Shall I read it again? So if everybody forgot what it says,
That would be great. Thanks.
Okay. That the town of Dryden hereby creates a new committee name to continue the work begun by the Climate Smart Task Force towards greenhouse gas reduction and preparing the town to cope with the deleterious effects of climate change through assisting and advising the town with planning, adaptation, and mitigation.
The town and residents?
Yeah.
The town is a resident, right?
we're a creation of the town. right?
So there's
Hmm?
there's the entity that is the town of Dryden,
Mhm.
You took it the legal, yeah.
and there are the residents.
Yeah,
It can't hurt to put and its residents.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
because we might be directly talking to the residents with flyers or
Yeah.
campaigns.
What about business owners?
Yeah, would community work for residents and
Community.
business owners?
Community.
Town and its community.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Because the community includes business owners, not just
Right.
people who reside here.
that's
Good one. Good.
And that's what, and what Ann and I wrote up too.
Good.
So depending on what the town like wants us to be called, whether it's like advising or not, if we say assisting and advising that's up there, would it really make a difference if they call us an advisory committee? Because if we write that we're assisting and advising, then we are doing action, right? Okay. So
Yeah, that's a
it's
good
not
point.
like-
Yeah,
I think,
assisting.
yeah,
And it's
Like
right in the
prove we
words.
do
like
action.
saying what we're doing,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like, what's our name? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's good. It's a great point.
Let's see, that the town appoints the existing members of the Climate Smart Task Force onto the new committee. That the town appoints Jack Wright to serve as new committee chair and Gina Cassidy to serve as new committee coordinator. The town of Dryden clerk shall certify the adaptation of this resolution, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, pausing quickly. Gina, do you think we need to put in like all of the current officers?
I didn't want to volunteer Evan because of his reluctance.
Well, I just, in our structure, whether the
What that means.
co-chair is expected to take over or not, vice chair, yes.
Excuse me.
That's my only hesitation is I'm not gonna become the chair, I'm gonna be the vice chair.
Is it some sort of sequence
Yes,
between?
Well, I mean, I suppose, discuss it. Do you want to be named in there?
I don't care one way or the other.
Also,
If-
you had
if
mentioned
it's no difference
secretary,
to
do
you,
you
then
want
I'm
the
inclined to-
secretary role in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing we learned from the clarification that came from Lauren is that our committee is free to set up its structure as it wishes, so we don't really have to, we don't have to specify at this point. We're
Okay.
naming Jack as the chair, but we're really saying all of the committee members from the current task force
Yeah.
are transferring, so.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's keep it
Keep it
simple.
local,
Yeah.
simple.
Okay.
Yes,
That sounds good.
if someone will see my name and that'll be the end of it.
Oh, no, not.
And I think having my name there is a way of memorializing the fact that there's a staff member who
Yes.
is
Good.
also a
Yeah.
officer.
Yeah. And actually, maybe this is a question for you. What the person is called, who is when we were beginning to be Climate Smart Community certified, one of the initial actions in PE1 is that there has to be a climate smart coordinator. And I know that's called different things in different municipalities. Is that correct?
Yeah, it can be called different things. It just needs to be recognized somewhere that that person is whatever it is for the CSC program. But I guess I follow up on that. I would suggest either in this resolution or creating another resolution, but I know you just said it, so not timely. Just recognizing again that this new committee is your CSC task force still, because you do want that recognized somewhere when you do recertify.
It will continue to serve as
The CSC.
for the state's climate smart purposes. This committee will continue to function as the task force, and in this case, Gina will be the climate smart coordinator.
Do we need a new whereas for that?
I think so.
I think
Yeah,
that would be
sounds like
good. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, Ashley, to clarify that, because
So I would probably go, Jack, I would suggest it goes after the objectives have been achieved and then say, or any future objectives.
Mhm.
How we. other people-
Doesn't it fit in the laundry list or the short paragraph that explains what the committee is going to do? And function as the climate smart.
Yeah,
oh, yes, that's a good
that's
one.
good, yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
one,
down in
yes.
down in the.
So after, you're suggesting after the resolved.
Yeah.
Right in
Committee
that.
will function. For the
Committee's gonna-
purposes of the New York State Climate Smart
To
Communities.
continue and sustain the work?
No,
Or-
continue as the climate smart, whatever it is, task force.
Mhm.
Just use the terminology.
Oh, I
that
see.
The state has already created. Otherwise, it's less clear.
Creates new name to continue as the Climate Smart Task Force.
For the purposes of the CSC and CEC
Maybe
programs.
to continue to function as the task force.
Mm. Mhm.
I like that as a separate, I think that's
Yes.
gonna be very confusing to the town board to say, you're creating a new committee to function as a task force.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, Alice,
Yeah.
it should be called out to
Yeah,
be clear.
I think our goal here is to make a difference between a task force, which ends when its tasks are completed, and a subcommittee, which does work that continues, and your very nicely worded resolution states that this work does continue. So we need a standing committee. So let's differentiate it.
So what if we said that new committee name? Continues.
For the purpose of New York State Climate Smart Communities Program, the new committee name will perform the functions of a climate smart task force. And what name did you give to yourself now?
Coordinator.
And the coordinator will serve as climate smart coordinator. Would that do it in a
Yeah.
separate resolution?
Do we need to put CEC in there too, Jerry?
You're good on CEC. CEC is pretty lax on that sort of thing.
What is the title, Gina, that you need for CSC?
Coordinator.
It's just coordinator?
Yeah.
Okay,
Climate smart.
CSC
coordinator.
okay, and. Which is the Town of Dryden's Climate Smart Task Force and.
The new committee coordinator will be the CRC coordinator.
Okay,
Or should we put continue to be Ashley?
Continue, yeah, climate smart communities, yeah, coordinator, that could be good.
Continue to be.
Yeah, showing them.
good.
Change the-
Because there'll be some point when we need to submit to the state that we still have a working task force and we still have a coordinator.
Okay, so.
We can take out the new first new committee name and put in, if that's a whereas
Yeah.
in there,
Well, this is the
This
therefore be
part
it
of the
resolved.
result.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And
So it should be and
and
that.
that
for
for
the
the
purposes.
purpose. So you can take out the first committee name because you've got new committee names
Yeah.
second,
That, so,
right, correct.
And there's an and up after mitigation.
like that,
Yep,
Correct.
and that, yeah, that, now you got it.
all right. Okay, so we have that for the purpose of New York State's Climate Smart Communities Program. New committee name will function as the Town of Dryden's Climate Smart Task Force. And the new committee coordinator will continue to be the Climate Smart Communities Coordinator. And does that feel okay to everyone?
And you might I don't know if it clarifies, but, and its new committee, if you wanted to, I don't know whether that's needed or not.
Sorry,
Maybe you
where?
just want to repeat the committee name. I just didn't want to,
Oh, sorry, in which part of this?
where it says and the new committee coordinator, I was trying to reference back to the new committee in some,
Oh, I
his
see.
name in some way. It might not be,
No.
I just never mind. Never
Okay.
mind. It's probably unless willfully misread.
Okay, so then we'll have that, the Town of Dryden clerk shall certify the adoption of this resolution effective immediately by the town board. And then that'll be the town board's function. Any thoughts on the content of this aside from the name?
Looks good to me.
Seems pretty reasonable.
Cool. Thank you, Gina, for drafting this.
Thanks for everybody's comments and
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
improving it.
yeah, I just want to comment that it follows such a nice logical progression of describing the history and goals, and I like the way that you formulated it.
Thank you.
yeah.
I write reports like that all day long.
The only thing that I'm thinking of is we're referenced as the Climate Smart Task Force, and I think. Is that what the town has this as? Because I mean,
It's
on the website-
contradictory in the records. Sometimes it says climate smart, sometimes it says climate smart community.
And some places it says climate smart communities / clean energy communities.
Yeah,
But I think for our purposes here, this is enough.
great.
Luckily, we don't have two climate task force.
That's right.
Yes. What a rivalry that would be.
Actually, it might be good then.
All right, so let's shift gears into the name of our group. So we'll have this resolution transform the task force into a committee. I heard both, the idea of climate action as part of the committee as well as sustainability. I'd be curious to hear what folks think, I guess between those two or additional ideas for a group name.
Ooh, how about sustainability and climate action committee?
I'm just trying to think of how do the letters go?
CSC.
Or
SCA.
S,
Well, climate action is broader, which is nice, whatever we're doing regarding climate. Whereas sustainability is, well, we're gonna keep things the same, we're gonna keep things moving, we're gonna sustain, we're not gonna change, we're not gonna take action, we're just gonna bump along. Which is not what I hope we're doing.
The Radical Climate Action Committee.
Yeah, that's my question. To the extent that our residents pay attention to things like this. Some of us here remember the ugly meeting that we had several years ago where the then was it the planning? It was arm of the planning board that offered to meet with the public to discuss changes in the then zoning code that would promote sustainability and climate action. And the pitchforks and the torches and the very angry people came out. And there were curse words thrown, and there were "you think you're smarter than us" kinds of statements. So I throw that up as a possible lesson learned when you say climate action in this community.
I'm
So
sort
what
of,
was the
And,
objection?
that night that task for that group was disbanded.
Yeah, yeah. This was an attempt that was made to alter the comprehensive plan to address sustainability piecemeal right before we did the overall change that does address sustainability in our comprehensive plan. I think our town has changed since then.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be a champion of saying we want this to be. Pardon?
That's a test case.
Yeah.
Has it changed?
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna be a champion of saying action and let's see. Because what I love about this group is that we've taken a lot of actions. And the state calls them high impact actions. And that's what we've been embarked on for 6.5, 7 years. So I think it's fair to say that we are taking action on the climate.
Mhm.
And I like short.
yes, yeah, I'm personally, you know, I hear what you're saying, Joe, you know, about sometimes there being opposition, and I think I'm personally inclined even more so to then be the climate action committee so that, you know, we can have that conversation with folks if they're really opposed. I would be surprised if we had, you know, a widespread pushback. Also, you know, what a wonderful problem it would be if people were like really tuned into municipal affairs. So I would be inclined to go for the climate action committee. And not really shying away from mentioning climate.
Okay, well, the town can always change it, right? They're the bosses.
Yeah,
ultimately.
that's right.
Can I offer a thought
Sure.
as an interested Dryden resident? There might be a colon after climate action committee and use words like protection or progress or safety or, you know, to clarify, there might be a subtitle. Isn't the actual title of the group, but is a clarification that would appear on posters and flyers and.
Yeah, that could actually mitigate the action a little bit. And I was thinking about the same question that we had a safety and preparedness committee of the town and it disbanded about 2 years ago, maybe. It was when we were working on the CCARP. And so the town right now does not have a safety and preparedness committee. So using those kinds of words that talk about protecting and those are words that resonate with another part of our community. That's good. I think that's a good idea. We could always call it CAC, but then there would be this subtitle.
I'll just raise the issue that we have the protecting Dryden line on a ballot. Just, you know, does that tie
Suggest-
back to this if we
Right.
use the word protecting? I don't know.
Yeah, safety and preparedness actually work better than protecting because of that political context. Yeah.
Where does it fit? Is it more verbiage that's going into this now?
I missed that.
Where do the words that were just,
Yeah,
do they go in here, or are they just some subtext that we all keep in mind?
I think in the resolution, we just leave it climate action committee.
Okay,
But then when we're out in public, climate action committee,
Yeah.
protection, safety, resilience.
Could be our motto.
yeah. The Dryden Rail Trail has a tagline, which is connecting communities.
Yes,
And this could be the tagline.
Yes.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good, Alex.
Resilience. Safety, preparedness.
And I think how we,
Prepared again.
I think how we frame our work, you know, when we're talking about it in the community is, I would say, even more important than, you know, what we name ourselves. And I think we can frame it in like, yeah, we're helping folks be prepared for the consequences of climate change. We're helping folks out with high energy bills and trying to frame it in that sense. But I'm hearing some support for just sticking with climate action committee for the resolution, and then we can sort of think about what the colon ... is afterwards.
Or tagline.
Or tagline,
I like
yeah.
that.
So I suppose we should vote. Is there a motion to create our new committee name shall be Climate Action Committee? Is there a motion to? move that
Oh, I think
forward?
that's Alice.
I'll make that motion. Alice.
All right, is there a second? All right, Marie, all in favor of creating our new committee name to be Climate Action Committee?
Aye.
Excellent.
Thank you, Christina.
All right. And once again, Gina, thank you for drafting this.
So this will get a cleanup, get sent out one more time.
Yeah, so I'll clean it up, send it out with, you know, instead of new committee name and bright yellow highlight, I'll actually say Climate Action Committee.
Final draft or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, I'll share that out. And then Christina, once that's shared out, you know, and we have the chance to incorporate any, if there is any, you know, small, you know, grammatical shift or anything like that, would you be willing to take this to the town board?
Of course. Our next meeting is this Thursday, so I don't know if we anticipate having it ready by then. Otherwise, I can add it to the September agenda.
I'll work on this tonight and I can send it out to folks. So let's say if folks have a chance to look at it before the end of the day tomorrow, that would be great. Is that enough time for you, Christina? If we give
Oh,
you
yeah.
the final version tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm gonna send Cassie a little reservation to put it on the agenda, and then if we decide not to do it, I'll just have her take it off.
Okay,
Great.
excellent. Thank you, Christina.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I have another question. Christina, would it be helpful if some of us attended the meeting to help you answer questions about the rationale for this?
Yeah, if one person would like to, I mean, we're always looking for visitors. Nobody ever comes to see us hardly. So we'd love to have people there. Either on Zoom or in person would be great.
So, yeah, you know,
Would it still be important to ask the town board if they want us to be an advisory committee or not? Because I don't wanna, like, I know we have the name, but if we do advisory committee instead, if they're happier, that would be too big of a change, right? If like that makes sense. Okay, so we should probably bring that up if Christina's asking.
yeah, if they have a preference between us being committee versus advisory
Yeah.
committee. And just to, you know, so I'm not speaking out of turn, it sounds like we were on board with kind of going whichever way the town wanted to designate us. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Do folks have any opposition to that? So we can ask if the town has a preference of us being one or the other. That's a great point.
Do they recognize two kinds of committees? Or is everybody just advisory? I mean, I'm getting the sense that everybody's advisory.
Well, I looked at the website and there's only a handful of advisory, but I don't know if that's just because that's how it is on the website. I don't know what their official name is. So I was going to send Lauren an email and just ask him to clarify. And if, who knows, maybe this will be an opportunity to standardize all the committees.
Yeah, good. I think part of the distinction is whether a committee has the ability to make legislation that binds the So only the planning board, the ZBA and the town board have that capability and everybody else really is advisory.
I think that's correct, and I vaguely remember the discussion when the ag board was formed. The then town board wanted to make it very clear that they were advisory and to compel the town to go in some direction on its own.
All right. So we're woefully behind schedule, but I'm very glad that we have this resolution set. So I'll work on cleaning this up, send it out tonight. We can incorporate any feedback by the end of the day tomorrow, and then I'll have to look at my calendar, but Alice and Gina, we can coordinate. Hopefully they'll be able to up into the town board meeting. But I'll touch base with you too on that.
I know I will not be able to do it. So.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we have a few minutes. We can start in on the mission and bylaws that Ann and Evan have worked on. I'm anticipating that this will spill over into our September meeting. So our September meeting will probably be heavily focused on continuing to chip away at the mission and bylaws, but also making sure we're set for the Repair Cafe, which is coming up in early October. But let's get started and see where we get with the mission and bylaws. We've done one big part, which was coming up with our name here. So we have Climate Action Committee, no longer a placeholder. And the idea is that this is a document that we can have sort of to refer back to, again, giving us structure beyond just the programs that we work with, but giving us an internal structure. So let's start with the mission. Well, actually, let me pause. Ann and Evan, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share, kind of introducing this before we jump into making any recommendations or changes to it?
Is that the full text? Because it looks like there's an and missing, or is it just off the screen?
It's probably
Mitigation of and adaptation.
There we
There we go.
And adaptations. Unfortunately, they didn't both take the same position there. I mean, I think Evan would have, and I would agree, it is, we were trying to write it in a way that was inclusive of what we might do without being too specific. And missions are they need to be short, they need to be somewhat aspirational, and they need to be fairly non-specific if you're going to give yourself any latitude at all.
Right.
So that was certainly about the mission statement. We were trying to use words that covered a wide range of possibilities. And
I live by the keep it simple rule, so we were trying to keep this to just about a page, not some huge structure of voting and membership and all this, just some things that we can point to and help us keep things moving. Just as simple as we.
So let's jump into it then. So keeping that in mind of having something that's simple, describes what we do, but not in a way that's constricting or binding. For the mission, we currently have to determine and promote actions by the town of Dryden and its community members that lead to the mitigation of and adaptation to the effects of climate change, thus increasing the resilience of the Dryden community. What do folks think that is a mission statement?
After saying keep it simple. In our tagline, we use some other words. They didn't know if we wanted to put some other words with resilience. Safety, preparedness.
Resilience is good enough for me, actually.
Where could we fit that in? We
Yeah,
have
just-
it, thus increasing the resilience.
I
Yeah,
think it can be included under resilience.
If we're gonna definitely use resilience, we could also include that in the tagline, if that's gonna be a part of the mission. Is it
Resilience words,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We got a tie.
yeah, you could pluck mitigation, adaptation, resilience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can, I mean, we can come back to this as well, but it
Yeah.
seems like for now, feel good with that. So there was some conversation over email of this idea of goals and objectives. Goals being sort of broad things that we can follow and kind of the work that we're doing, and then objectives would be more specific. I don't think that that's something we want to lay out in this document, so as not to kind of constrict ourselves. But maybe having, let's start with the goals. So for the three goals that we have listed here, just to add, I guess, just a little bit more texture to our work. Reducing the municipality's greenhouse gas emissions, improving the municipality's ability to respond to the consequences of climate change. I suppose we could include the municipality and its community, as we did in the resolution. And then promote community-wide climate action, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing climate resilience.
So one thing in this that I'm not just ignorant. What authority, not us, but would oversee this? Let's say we decided as a group to make sure that the town of Dryden has a cooling center with the increasing heat. Who oversees it? Who calls an emergency? Who staffs it? Are there already people in place? Does the EMS, are there plans around at all for any of this, or would we be potentially making new ground and then asking the town to take on it? When you said community members, we're not gonna ask the community members to do some of this. It's gonna be the municipality's gonna have to take it on, or maybe the state already does some of this. I just don't know. But I wanted, when we, yeah, I'm not sure the goal, yes, I think the goal could be have the community involved, but I think at some point we're gonna have to understand some of the existing structures and the legal processes, all that, if we're depending on how this goes.
I do think that when we wrote this, that's why we were fairly careful to write our goals in as sort of a proposing, perhaps researching and building the picture of how to get there.
Yes.
As opposed to saying, we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
or we must do this,
Yeah.
because we don't know how, and, you know, some of these are very large.
Yeah.
I mean, even small things turn out to be very large.
So it could, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
So we're committing to improving the municipalities and the community's ability to respond. But there are many ways that we could do that. Same thing. You know, part of the research that we might do is finding out what the emergency management system and the fire companies that we fund as a town are all doing this in these areas.
Yeah.
So I think there's also kind of, I don't know, I just thought of this now because of your question that, there's a kind of coordinating role that this committee can play, working with other advisory boards and contract agencies, the town. But maybe 3 is broad, is open-ended enough, promote community-wide climate action. Maybe that's broad enough to say we would try to be looking at the resources in the entire community when we think about moving towards an action that would,
If I can just read out the line that we originally wrote, just to as a reference point. As our goals, to identify specific actions related to increased community resilience to be taken by the municipality and community members, and to update the actions as appropriate. So we're trying to, again, kind of offer to do the research or offer to do the proposing and the backgrounding of something. Of course, you know, I'm not saying we would participate. I guess that's another question in there, but where we're sort of, as I say, we're using the term identify actions that have these aspects to them.
I like promote better because it's more vague, where we can do things and we can also ask the town to do.
Yeah.
open-ended.
We did use that in the mission, so we were trying to not just repeat the mission, I will say that. And, you know, there's pros and cons to that, sometimes repeating it might be best then.
Yeah.
Can I make it more confusing?
Sure.
So the last part of number two, like respond to the consequences of climate change, to me, that seems more like reactive. I just think that there could be some more proactive words in there. Because it's, to me, it reads like after an event, like preparing for the response. And there's things that you can do to help prevent the consequences as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of pointed in there because it's like, this is already happening. We're not preparing for something that's going to happen, but it has already happened.
Yeah, and the preventive piece, but I want to piggyback on what you're saying, because it's something that you said the other day, Gina, that I've been thinking about ever since. The preventive piece really is reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah, true.
And that's number one, but, this is maybe opening up a big can of worms, but,
Go for it.
we were talking about data centers coming into our community. And, that is a big draw on energy that we might want to take a stand on. And and that would be a preventative act, but it isn't reflected in any of a lot of the language is totally focused on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but that's not the only way that our environment can be damaged. If, for example, a big portion of the energy that's available to our community gets drained for uses that don't necessarily benefit our community, like how would that fit? Addressing that kind of thing. I want to do something that speaks to prevention of greater climate damage, but I don't know how to say that.
Thinking you would need another goal, like promote environmental responsibility. Responsible energy use, but do we want to leave it just to energy use? Want to make it greater than energy use?
Because I mean, energy is
Resource.
primary, but
Responsible resource.
Responsible resource
Yeah.
use, because resources are energy, water, air, land.
Yes.
This is one of the things the conservation board has been involved in. It's like, we're gonna get bigger storms. So one of the things we're continuously trying to say is, let's take care of our wetlands. Let's
Yes.
make sure that we don't rid ourselves of wetlands and.
So that's big,
absorption and this sort of thing.
that's big enough to include.
Yeah,
So
Wetlands
it's something
Yeah,
that,
that's another
you know, we can
reason.
work together on, but it's part of resilience.
yeah.
Does that feel like if we put that in like synergistic rather than like stepping on the conservation boards?
No, I don't think but it might not be needed to name everything.
yes.
That's the big thing. I think we're, you know, we've got a big agenda here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is there ways to kind of frame that agenda so that we don't have to name each thing? We don't know if we're gonna have droughts for the next 15 years, in which case we got fire to deal with.
Yeah, or flooding, we don't know where it's
Yeah,
gonna.
we don't know whether.
both. But I like that language that is maybe a number two, in addition to greenhouse gas emissions, as a proactive thing. The word is, maybe we don't want to use promote again, but promote responsible use of resources.
It's like,
Encourage responsible use of. Yeah.
because that's, I feel like that's more in the community, like encouraging.
Yeah, so with that,
It's nice and vague too.
It's also-
Gives us leeway for both
So,
community
you
and.
know, when people ask, you know, our resources are farmland, the wetlands we have around, the forests, our energy resources. Even though they're all controlled by NYSEG.
And there's reducing emissions and there's offsetting emissions by doing things like that are carbon sinks and anything that would reduce where the carbon goes.
And then, I mean, you know, basically talk about pollution and biodiversity as well as climate change as the three that are key in the world right now. If we leave it broad enough, we can pull some of those in without really saying so.
yeah. Diversity is also not addressed in this at all, although it could be in terms of just that larger.
Resources.
It's a
resource.
Yeah.
Encourage responsible use of resources.
If we put too many things in there, our focus might become too unfocused.
It's
Yeah.
narrowed, or we have
Yeah.
to justify in going, because
Yeah.
we're gonna have to follow the science.
Yeah.
And there are things that we think we ought to do now, which will turn out not to be particularly effective. And we'll all end up seeding clouds, but never mind.
So would you accept that as number two, where we talk about two proactive actions and then we move to talk about, or number three maybe?
I do like the idea, so we can kind of lump together the mitigation. I guess.
It's
sort of-
response in three.
Say that again.
Yeah, I like this order.
The structure.
So these are, no, one and two are actions that we can take to reduce GHGs and encouraging responsible resources, and then we move to the more dealing with what's already underway. And three. And four actually is again,
That repeats.
repeat, it's kind of summing it up in a way.
Well, it's bringing community in, not just municipality.
Okay, good. Community wide, yeah.
I have a little technical suggestion for number three. Improve the municipality and community instead of its community's ability.
Oh, and community's ability, yeah. Good.
We're not gonna improve the municipality.
Municipality, should that be, have an apostrophe?
Apostrophe, yeah.
Municipalities and communities? Or is that-
Yes,
That
Well,
yeah,
encourage-
both of their ability, but not improve the municipality.
Municipalities and.
I don't know how it could possibly improve.
I wonder.
Why don't we just
Well,
say the
yeah.
Dryden communities?
That is
Why
so
do we have
wonderful.
to say the municipality and the community if it does something?
The
that's
drive
right?
communities, good.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
So for number 4, where it says reducing greenhouse gas emissions, that's tied back to number 1, but is it different because this one's focusing on community, whereas the first one municipality? One is-
think so.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's a useful distinction, or if in goal number 1, we just have reduced greenhouse gas emissions. And then it can be sort of vague, we're doing it at a municipal level, but also community focused work. And that way we don't need to repeat it in the 4th goal. Or we can keep it as is.
Or you can use the same language as number 3. Reduce Dryden community's greenhouse gas emissions.
So no.
Uh,
I mean, it seems to me that number 4 could be moved to number 1. Or, and in substitute for number 1.
Yes, good.
I would be,
Yes.
so let's see what that looks like. Promote clean right climate action, basic greenhouse gas emissions, basic climate, basically. First, responsible resource use, improve joint community development. I think I like that, because I think that's then thinking about, the structure of it feels, or the sequence of it feels right to me.
And I would just, I think like reducing and increasing, should it be reduced and increased to keep the same rate? That too.
Sorry, so like these two for reducing and
If
increasing.
all of them are like promote, encourage, improve, and then this one's the only one that's
I
reducing.
think that's because of Jaron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So reduce greenhouse gas emissions, comma, and increase climate resilience.
and increase, yeah, good.
I think, was that originally meant that the actions would have the effect of reducing and the effect of increasing? If it's in this, that's one thing, and the other is to say that
Yeah,
those
you're
are,
right. I was reading it as a list, but yeah,
Right.
if you're reading it.
I don't know.
went the other way.
I
Yeah.
had initially intended it as sort of like describing how
Okay.
we're promoting community
By-
climate action.
by
but-
reducing or
Yeah,
or especially reducing or,
I think it's good as a list.
all right.
Yeah, I do too.
You wore your Oxford comma shirt, Dan, so I.
Right.
I wouldn't
Did,
dare, I
I did
wouldn't.
it on purpose.
When Ann and I met to do this, we quickly realized we both were very strong supporters of the Oxford. We had no issues.
I agree.
So keeping an eye on the time, we have about 10 minutes left, and I want to make sure we have a chance to hear other reports from other town committees, task force, boards, all that.
Yep.
Do we feel like the goals are in a good place for now? Are there any edits on this before we shift gears? We'll revisit this in our September meeting. But are there any thoughts while we're talking about big goals for the group? All right. So let's shift gears. We've heard the town board report, and we'll jump to you for conservation board report.
Right, I don't wanna take much time because it's not too big. We, the conservation board once again talked a little bit about the area that's been refilled now at the Dryden Lake Show Trail, which has been refilled by the town, is no longer a wetland of any sort, is now a plain, a fill plain, and is not being planted. And we did discuss the possibility of trying to get native plantings in there as a wet, as opposed to just letting the mixture of goldenrod and invasive species take it.
What, is that actually town property?
No one's quite sure.
Yeah, been in our family for 100 years.
There seems to be a discrepancy in belief.
Okay.
It all may become a moot point if the other thing that's on tap, which is that I think is. Oh, and I did this piece on milkweeds. But the other thing that was on tap was the question of that is going to be unresolved and before us for a while is the problem of the dam. Dam has essentially been listed as not, it's inadequate. It has to be either fixed or taken out. It is, there are some parts of its structure which is incapable of holding the amount of water. Should that amount of water increase and put more pressure on the dam? It does not meet code.
Do you know the dam's classification? Do you know the dam's classification?
I don't know that off the top of my head, I don't know dam classifications, but the DEC is adamant. And the DEC is at this point wants to move the responsibility for the dam. If we want to keep Dryden Lake to the town would have to take on a rather large, I think it's like $1 million or something. I mean, it's a chunk of change to fix that dam. And the alternative is to somehow change the dam, lower it, or just take it out. It was a river at one point, but that's 150 years ago.
Would taking out the dam, like,
Dryden Lake will be gone.
I was gonna ask how that would like affect, like, the wetlands in the area.
Well, it would be wetlands, but it would not be Dryden Lake. It's been Dryden Lake for, I think it's about 120 years. I think it's that turn of the century. There are people like Gene who are very pro river, and he would like to see this river set free. But I don't think we know. I mean, to me, as an ecologist, when you take out something like that, you have a commitment also to make sure that it does not turn to be mud flats. And again, another big invasive species take over, which it will. I mean, to some extent.
Is there a very short version of why it became a lake from a river?
Yeah, there was, and it has to do with. I'm going to mix this up with something, but there is a story, and I will get it for you. I think there was a decision about, it wasn't recreation. It may have been fishing, and it may have been agricultural fields. So I'm gonna get that term. Sorry, I'm not sure.
If you could share that out with the whole group,
Yeah,
I'd be
I
very
will,
interested
I will.
to hear.
I think there's some decently well-known history of this too. So, yeah,
Well, it seems important to frame, I guess, for the town, that decision as there's not really like a no cost, option, right? It's
There's
expensive
no
in repairing
cost.
the dam or expensive in very intentionally dismantling the dam and doing something with the space that.
Yes, there's
Correct,
no
right.
no cost option,
Right.
and the option of taking it out, I think is, from what I can tell, is really underexplored.
Hmm.
I think the consequences are best.
So it's an intermediate hazard dam, and so there is state funding for it. It would be a 25% match for repair or for rehabilitation or removal. So
Yeah,
that's
well,
something that
I
can be
mean,
explored.
the DEC and the town are talking.
Okay.
But that is not what is coming across, that we would have to match 25%. Because the total cost is pretty huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it is. The town is kind of stumped at the moment.
For the
The town is kind of stopped at the moment. I don't think any decisions are being made, and I haven't heard any strong pushes in one direction or another.
It sounds to me like your committee is thinking that the whole burden of fixing or removing it will fall on the town, but it sounds like this
That's-
is 25%.
Yes, I did not get this as a, that it would only cost us 25%. No one has said that, and the town is not apparently thinking that way. And since the DEC and the town have been in conversation, they know what the level of
What the
the dam
cost
is.
is,
So
yeah.
I don't think they should be. The people who have been discussing this between the board and the DEC. So I don't know what's going on with respect to that.
So my other job is regional water quality coordinating, so
Mhm.
I can be involved in those conversations too. Like at the town level.
It sounds like it would be very important, particularly when we're talking about them. And if the town's ignorant of that, that's a bad thing.
Well, I can certainly via the conservation board try to bring that up, but it's, we are very advisory and usually ignored. The other thing that is true is that there's a fairly large community of birders and naturalist types who want Dryden Lake. Yes. And who value it as well as recreation. But no one has asked anybody what they're willing to call them in Texas.
Alice.
I think this issue arose when I was serving on the town board, and I believe actually that and this is a question. I believe that the town, if I recall that the town has the option of declining to the DEC to take over responsibility for the they do, and I think that's what happened the last time. I think. I remember,
Is
but
that essentially just pushing it back into the state's court, or like?
I think that's
you
what
deal with
happened.
this?
Yeah, and in say 2020,
Hmm.
I think this arose, and there may have been a stop, you know, I'm sure that was sort of, the dam was sort of temporarily fixed and it got kicked down the road, but I don't think that we are necessarily obligated to say, yes, we'll take full responsibility. That's what I
No,
recall.
It's just that the DEC is basically saying they don't have the funds to do
Correct.
this.
Yeah. I think that's what we heard.
So,
So, sorry, could you repeat again? So if you don't take it over, what is DEC planning to do?
the DEC is currently more or less responsible for it. But they're not willing to, they do not have the funds.
Okay, so they're saying they would remove it, or
I
and
think
get
that
rid of
they
the
have
lake?
not given an ultimatum exactly. They've been, it remained in conversation. So what I'm
Remove
getting,
it selfish, just let it sit there.
Seems like the worst option. An uncontrolled dam was.
It just crumbled over the years.
Slowly
I think legally, we're not allowed to let it crumble much farther.
Well, if it's sorry, I'll get into the weeds on this.
Yeah.
I'm stop.
So what else we got?
So,
Before we leave this, and I bring this up not for discussion here, but in case somebody here knows more than I do. Fred on his bike on Jim Shug Trail by Dryden Lake yesterday or the day before
saw somebody spraying the side of the Jim Shug Trail. And he stopped and politely asked what they were doing. And asked them if they considered that pets and children and things would be walking. And the man who was spraying, who was not a town employee, said, "Oh, no, this is not poison. This is the good stuff. This is Roundup."
Well, that's interesting.
And so Fred wrote to Dan Lamb and said, "This is going on. Is there something that can be done?" And Dan Lamb replied, "No, we can't do anything."
I think that's because the town is arguing about ownership, or they're not really arguing about ownership, but the guy is, he is on the plat maps as
Mhm.
owning it.
Oh, okay.
All they can do is control the problem of having cars go off the road and that kind of thing. From the work he was doing, from the digging he was doing, he was creating a real public hazard.
Do we know this is the same property?
Yeah.
We do know it's the
It's a
same.
triangle of land that's been the playground of the guy who lives across the road.
Yeah, okay.
And so I think that's the problem, is that they're stopped. So I didn't know he'd taken that step. But yeah,
Can I get that address from you later from my?
I'm not sure it has a physical address. I'm not sure. It's across from he's got more earthworks.
Yeah.
But that's farther onto his property.
I'll get with you and find out. Okay.
Recognizing that we're at
Yes, sorry.
time, Gina, can we go to you for any update?
You want
on
me
that?
just to wait next? There's nothing pressing, but I can just, all right.
If it's quick, then we can do it now. and-
Nothing's quick. Sorry.
So, now under pressure. The Hanshaw Village sewer extension project is proceeding apace. We are applying for a community development block grant to help them pay for a new sewer system that'll benefit the Hanshaw Village, but also the surrounding properties, extending the sewer. There's talk maybe in the future of extending the water too. But that's going on, and the town was just reviewing, did a seeker, presented their seeker, part one, at the last meeting. What else? I have been working mostly on recertifying cell telecommunications towers. Those have been pretty out of date. We have missing telecommunications persons, and some that I don't know are very from very long ago. So we're trying to get those in shape, and also permits to put more equipment on those towers ongoing. So it's good that we've pinned down a few of these companies to clean up the lots that the communications towers are based on and make sure they're safe before more equipment's put on those. I guess that's all for now.
All right, excellent, well, thank you, good. So we're at time, so we'll wrap up for today. I guess 2 or 3 quick things. First, we'll grab a photo out by the EVs after this, so if you have to run, totally fine, but if you have a minute to stick around, it'd be great to get a photo. We can put it in the town newsletter, if y'all are comfortable with that. Second thing is Village Taqueria. Hopefully folks are able to join. Ashley, Hannah, Jerry, you're all most welcome to join us while we're just gonna hang out at the Village Taqueria for a little bit. And then next meeting will be September 19th, that a Tuesday. Let's see. Will be the 16th, so Tuesday the 16th, 5 o'clock on Zoom. We'll talk about Repair Cafe, finish up the great work that Anne and Evan have started us on. So
And I will unlikely to be there,
Okay,
just to say I'll be out of town.
okay.
And I have just one more quick thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
I would really like to say thank you to the people who responded about the data center issue. And I will include you, Anne, in that, your note to people.
Yeah.
And I will take that information and send it to John Kiefer and Tony Salerno. I feel very strongly about the data center. Don't want them. If we can't regulate it, we ban it. That's what we learned in the fracking fight. Keep them out. So,
It's over. We gotta make it be just over,
yes,
done.
yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, people. My brain does not read legalese, municipal writing stuff very well at all, so I really appreciated the feedback.
Excellent. And yeah, I look forward to, I'd love to talk about that more at the Village Talk Arena, because I can share a little bit of what we're thinking at CCE on how to be involved with that. But let's call it a day for now. So we will end the meeting on this other computer. All right,